within the blink of an eye. Imagine then those that possess total knowledge of the book, those that are referred to as Hamalat Kitabillah, those that possess the true knowledge of the book, those that are the manifestations in action of that book, and those that are the place where Allah keeps His secrets. They are the secret keepers of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And it is only them who will teach us the depth of this book. Ibn Abbas comes to visit Amir al-Mu'mineen salamuhu alayhi. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad. And he says that I came in the early night and I sat with Amir al-Mu'mineen, and Amir al-Mu'mineen we began discussing the tafsir of Surah Al-Fatiha. He says, by the time Fajr had come, the light began to show outside. Amir al-Mu'mineen turned to me and said, Ibn Abbas, go, it is the time of Fajr now, leave the rest for later. He says, we had not got past the alif of Alhamdulillah. Said we had not got past the alif of Alhamdulillah, and Amir al-Mu'mineen turned to me and said that if I wanted to, I could give so much understanding of Surah Fatiha that 70 camels' loads would be filled by that. No, it's not an exact amount, like 70 camels. It's a figure of speech, that amount of paper that could be carried by 70 camels. Its equivalent, Amir al-Mu'mineen possesses the knowledge of Surah Al-Fatiha. So many pages could be written that Amir al-Mu'mineen has that knowledge of it. In another narration, Imam al-Baqir salawatullah wa salamuhu alayhi said, if I could find someone who bear the knowledge, who was able to bear this knowledge that I have, I could reveal all of the realities and secrets of existence from just the 5 letters of the word Samad. We say Allahu Samad. Says the 5 letters of the word Samad. If I could find someone that could bear all of this knowledge, I would give them the realities of the heavens and the earth from just these 5 letters. This is what it means to be Hamalat Kitabillah. Says Allah has done tajalli. Allah has manifested within the words of the Holy Quran. The Quran's batin has a batin, and its batin has a batin, and its batin has an essence within an essence within an essence within an essence. No matter how much a person dives within the Holy Quran, no matter how much a person wants to understand the Holy Quran, there will always be something there to learn, something to... This is why Amir al-Mu'mineen in Nahjul Balagha, when he speaks about the benefits of the Quran, he has something like 47 virtues of the Holy Quran that he mentions in one khutbah. He says, وَالدُّعَاءَ عَلَيْسَ بَعْدَ الدَّاءِ. He says, this is a cure after which there is no disease. This is that spring from where the thirsty for knowledge will quench their thirst, and after which there will be no more thirst. No matter how much a person wants, every time they read the Quran, every time they read the translation, every time I read the tafsir, a new understanding opens. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has done tajalli, He is manifested within those words. When He was to manifest His essence, His words, they came in those letters and those papers that form the Holy Quran. And it can only be unlocked by those whom He endowed with that, and that is none other than Ahlulbayt alayhim salam. They're the only ones that are endowed with that knowledge. And it is only through them that a person can achieve that understanding. Otherwise, outside of them, when one goes away from them, it leads to their destruction. Imam Sadiq salawatullah wa salamuhu alayhi says one day Isa Ruhullah was walking with one of his companions, and it was a companion that was always by his side. Always by his side. And as they were walking one day, he thought to himself, he says that I do pretty much the same things as Nabi Isa. Like, what's the difference? He says, Isa can walk on water, I too can walk on water. He does this, I too do this. He says, I just had the thought. And as they walked towards the river, Nabi Isa began walking. This individual walking has the thought and begins to drown. He calls out to Nabi Isa, Ruhullah, Ruhullah, help me. Nabi Isa him out. Says, what is it that made you lose this power to walk upon the water? Says, before I thought to myself, says, what difference is there between me and Isa? That I too can walk on water like him. Nabi Isa looks towards him, he says, you overstepped your boundaries. Ajab took root in his heart. Says, you overstepped your boundaries. And so that ability was taken away from you. Do istighfar. Know your place. Understand what Islam is. And then this power will return to you. And then Imam Sadiq explains, he says that know your boundaries, know your limits is what we gain from this. This individual had only attained what he had attained because of that light of wilayah of Isa that was shining through upon him. Without Nabi Isa, he was nothing.
You are the hujjah of Allah upon
what I have achieved in my life, what you have achieved, those things that we are proud of.
So Ahlulbayt,
those things that others honor us for, those things that others praise us for,
none
of it is from me.
The word hujjah means
it is only
proof
the light of wilayah
evidence
shining upon me that
so
has allowed me to
you are the proof of Allah. You are the
it is only the mercy of God upon me that has allowed me to do it.
Existed upon those that exist, upon that shall exist. Upon all of
that ajab, that
self-conceit, the present and the future, you are the evidence.
Even it was a thought, he didn't even verbalize it.
You are the proof of Allah over them.
That made him fall.
Hujjatullah, they are Hujjatul Islam.
And when one begins to spiritually
prepare
themselves, develop themselves, change themselves,
we refer
in those
to
higher realms,
as Hujjatul
in the Islam Akbar and Iman Akbar and Islam A'adam and Iman A'adam, those that were here for those lectures will know we don't have time to go back over them. Those individuals that are living at those levels of Iman, those levels of Islam, those levels of mission and faith, those that have begun their Hijrat al-Sughra and Hijrat al-Azama and Hijrat al-Kubra, those when a person is embarking upon those journeys and is reaching the higher levels as Hijrat al-Kubra or Hijrat al-Azama, at that even the smallest of thought will make a person fall. This is why Imam al-Sajjad is saying in Munajat al-Arifin, Lord, place me amongst the Arafah, those individuals whose thoughts are clear, are pure, even when they are alone.
Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the Holy Quran, when referring to the Holy Prophet,
point
in Surah 13, verse 43, he says,
even the thought will make a person fall. In Surah Al-Hujurat, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talks,
says that
in various stages, do not raise your voice in front of the voice of the Prophet. Do not raise your voices from outside the home of the Prophet. Do not do riba, and then later on he says, and do not let one nation mock another nation. Do not give each other bad names. And then later on he says, and do not think ill
the
of
divine
each other.
laws, the divine knowledge.
It's a continuation of one's
and
moral
when you go
and
into the
spiritual
tafasir,
journey.
see one of the persons bearing witness,
That he
or one of
starts
the
abstain from
bearing
certain
witness
things
to
and
the
then
risalat
reaches
of
the point
Rasulullah is
when
Allah
now
subhanahu wa
he's
ta'ala. The
of
other
pure
one is
as
the
well.
one that possesses the knowledge of the
When
book.
the thoughts
And the
can be
narrations
pure,
say
that someone's
individual
standing
that
in front of me,
possesses
someone's saying
the
something in
total
front of me, I
knowledge
can
of
be
the
all
book,
happy
the one
in
that
front
is
of them.
عنده
Say,
علم
mashallah, that was
الكتاب
great
is
lecture.
none other
and
than Amir
in my
al-Mu'mineen
mind, I'm like,
salawatullah wa salamu alayhi.
didn't know what he was talking about.
And this
Someone could be talking to me,
ilm al-kitab is
and I could be
different to
smiling,
what
saying, I'm so
is
proud of you,
referred
mashallah,
to
you did great.
in regards to Asif al-Barkhiyya.
And in my mind,
Where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala there in relation to Asif
because my
al-Barkhiyya,
thoughts
the one who brings
are not
the
pure. I've not
throne
purified
of
that element of
Bilqis
my
to
soul.
Hazrat
I've not dived
Sulaiman,
deep in the
he says,
depth
"Ilmun
of my
min
soul,
al-kitab."
gone to the quagmire
Says
that exists at the
Asif
bottom of the
al-Barkhiyya
pool
had a
and
little
pulled
knowledge
out
from
that
the book.
rubbish.
The Quran says, and a man stood from amongst the
You remember
courtiers
from last year's
of,
lectures
Sulaiman,
when we
a man
spoke
who
about the
had
pool,
little knowledge of the book.
the example that
And he said, I can
the
bring
soul
for you the throne
that
of
Alamit
Bilqis before
Tabatawai gives.
you blink your eye.
Inshallah, you remember.
Imam al-Sadiq is asked that he says, what is the
okay.
difference between ilm al-kitab and
Sometimes it's
ilm min
good to test,
al-kitab?
even a year
Says,
later.
what is the difference
who
between
actually
these
remembers
two?
what I said?
Imam
And then
al-Sadiq
if you
says,
don't, then,
imagine
you know,
that
it
there
makes
is a
life
bird
easier for
flying
another
over
point
the
where
sea,
you
and
can
as
just
the
come
bird
back to saying
its
things again.
wing in the sea
That was
and
a joke,
lifts
I
up
don't really.
a single drop of water goes upon
last
its
year
wing,
when we
it
spoke about
flies
the
away
soul,
with that. He said
and we
that is
spoke about
ilmun min
the way that the
al-kitab,
soul is
that
made
that
up, and the
sea
example
is
that
the
Alamit
knowledge.
Tabatawai
Ilmun min
gives of
al-kitab
the soul,
is one drop
because
from
what
that
happens in
sea,
Shahr
but when
Ramadan,
we say ilmul kitab, it is that individual is submerged in the sea. Says Asif al-Barkhiyya had only one drop from the sea of knowledge, but yet Ahlulbayt and Amir al-Mu'mineen are those that are submerged within that knowledge.
I think it's great. I think I've changed my life.
This is that
I think
these
I've done,
individuals
something
that are the
that will be
hujjah
really
of Allah
good.
upon the earth, that they have access
I'm gonna carry
to
on
that
reciting
knowledge
Quran.
of
I'm not
God.
gonna
They have
become angry
access
anymore. I'm not going to
to
lie. I'm not going to do
everything
anything. I'm
in
going
the
to
known
be
world.
a good human being.
They are those that are the
And the
hujjah
first
of
half
Allah
of Shahr
upon the
Ramadan,
first
and the second half
and the
is
last,
coming. And I'm
the
feeling really
ula
good
and the
about
akhirah.
And then someone says something
In
to
this
me,
particular part of the
and all of a sudden my anger flares.
Says the last of
And I
them
begin
and
swearing
the
at the
first.
person, or I
Some
begin
translate the
demeaning the
first
person, or I
ula
begin
as those
making
individuals.
fun of the
Others say
person.
no, ula is in reference to alim al-dhar, is
And I think to
outside of
myself,
the
but
physical
wait.
realm. Now when they go out
All
of the
this
physical
month
realm,
I was pure.
they
All
are
this
the
month
proof
I
of
controlled
Allah
my anger.
upon
All
the
this month,
metaphysical realms.
this
They're
person,
not
all
just
he
the
did
proof of
was
Allah within here, but they're
not
the
let
proof
me
of Allah
get
in alim al-dhar.
the starter
When
plate before him.
Allah Ta'ala gathered
And
everyone in atomic to be Rabbikum, am I not
Why is
your
it that I've
Lord?
become so
and
angry?
قالوا بلى, and they replied, yes, you are.
I thought I'd purified myself. I've been
even
fasting
there,
for 20 plus
they were
days
the
now.
hujjah of
I've been
Allah.
reciting
Even there,
Salat
their
al-Layl
wilayah
every night.
was the
I've been
proof
finishing,
of
I've been
Allah
reciting
subhanahu wa ta'ala.
a chapter of the
Their wilayah
Quran
and their
every night.
proof, their-
I've been doing
their
istighfar
hujjiyat
every
is
night.
that
I've
which
been
makes
doing
the
sajda
prophets
upon
prophets
sajda
of
every
God.
night. I've
Yesterday
been
I
reciting
gave the
dua
narration
iftitah
that
every
not a
night. So
single
why is it that I'm
prophet
still
is
getting
made a
angry?
prophet,
Why
not a
is it that
single
I'm still
prophet
looking
is
down on
confirmed
people?
for
Why
his
is it that I'm
prophethood,
so proud of
except
certain
that he
things?
first
Why is it that I'm
accepts
still
the wilayah
jealous
of
of certain
Fatimah
people?
Zahra,
Why is it that I
salawatullah
can
wa
still do
salamu
ghiba of others? Why is it that I still I'm habituated to lying? Why is it that I have so many of these diseases in my soul? Still, even though for 20 days I've been abstaining from food and water, for 20 days I've been worshipping, for 20 days I've been reciting Quran, for 20 days I've been reciting dua, for 20 days I've been doing thousands of istighfar, but yet
free
still,
from all sin, born with all knowledge.
why is that?
They guide and give proof through their
Because what
very
happens
wujud, through their existence,
soul is like
their
a pool
words
of water.
towards the existence of God.
And when you don't do anything
That you
to
look
a pool of
towards
water, even
them
though it's
and
got
it
rubbish
makes an
inside
individual fall
you
in
see
the
those
remembrance of
fountains that
Allah
have,
subhanahu wa ta'ala.
you leave them for a while and they get
But yet
dirty.
mankind is never ready for them.
And you leave it for a little while longer
Until
and
it was
everything
time for
sort
the
of
final hujjah
decomposes
and
and
Allah
falls.
hid him. the world.
and it falls to the bottom.
He was taken away because prophet after
And you look
prophet,
at the
sage
water
after
and it
sage,
appears clear.
Imam after Imam killed,
Everything
not
appears
understood
not
by
being
the
agitated.
people.
Nothing's gone on with it.
Wasn't
So
understood
everything
by
on
the
top
people. Each
just
of them
sank
killed,
to the bottom.
oppressed.
And so when you look at the water, you see
This
mashallah,
earth.
really clear water.
And so then the final one,
It's
the
really
culmination of them all hidden from the people.
The moment
until
you
the
step
people
inside
are ready
it,
for him.
the moment you agitate
they're
it
ready
with a
for
stone, all of a sudden all that rubbish comes back up
Every
again.
previous
And that's
every
exactly what we do with our, how we perceive our false sense of spirituality
the final
in
one
these
awaits
holy
until the
months,
people are
that we
ready
don't
for him.
agitate the water.
narrations say
We
that
keep
even
away
it
from
is
those
only
things that
when
will
the
make us listen
darkest
to
of
music, or we
hearts
keep away from those things,
begins
those
to
people that
regret
make us
the
angry, or we
situation
sleep
in the
most of the
world,
time, so we
then
don't
you
really, we're not
So
really
if you think about
tested.
how bad the situation within the world is
So
right
all that
now,
happens is all those diseases
and
that
how
I
much
had,
worse it needs to be,
anger,
that the
pride,
heinous of people,
sinks
the
to the
most,
bottom.
the
never
lowest
really
and the
removed.
most degraded of individuals needs
So
to
the
turn around
moment
and
someone
look at
says
the earth and
something
say,
to me that I
"We've lost
don't
control,
like,
there's
and
something going
on
bad."
top of that
Imagine
I'm
how
hungry
bad
and I'm hot
things will
and
become.
annoyed about something else.
And this whole
It all flares
time,
back
we
up
often
again.
say, and I said the other
So
day,
the
that we
role
are
of,
not
or
awaiting
what
the
to
Imam,
do
the Imam
is to
awaiting
dive
us.
deep
If
within
the
our
previous
soul
Anbiya, the
and
previous
try and
Imams were
understand
Maghlub,
it is that this
that
exists
were
within
around
my
them,
soul.
killed
Why
them, their
is it that I
enemies
became
oppressed them,
angry?
their enemies
How am
did
I
not
going to
allow them to
counter
take
it?
the
Even though I
mantle of
feel
the
spiritual
rulership
now,
upon
I
the
should
Muslims,
not
upon
delude
all of
myself upon the
existence,
path that
they did it out of
there is
animosity,
still
out of
something
enmity.
that is there within my soul.
But now
that will
why am
flare
I
up at any
oppressing
time,
the Imam
that
of
will
my
pull
time?
me
Out of
towards
what? My
I need
Imams
to
were
be aware
madhaloom then
of that.
at the hands of their enemies,
And not let
but
it
now they're madhaloom now at the
slip
hands
away
of
from
we,
my
the
mind,
Shia.
away from my eye, that
Back
yes,
then, no one wanted to
maybe,
hear their words.
you know, or
That
not
Amir
lull
al-Mu'mineen
myself
would
into a
have to
false
take
sense
Kumail
of
into the desert
security,
and say to
that
Kumail,
yes, I've purified
"Hahuna
myself
ilman
because I
jara'a."
fasted this
Kumail,
long.
there is great knowledge
Because when
here,
the
but
day
there's
of
no one
Eid
to
comes,
take
all
it
that
from.
false sense of spirituality goes.
And I have Nahjul Balagha on my bookshelf.
Now my
Nahjul
desire to
Balagha
recite
on my
Salat
phone.
al-Layl goes.
But yet I never read the words of Amir al-Mu'mineen.
I'd be lucky if I wake up for
I have
Fajr.
Sahifa Sajjadiyya on
Because in
my
Shahr
bookshelf,
Ramadan
but
I
yet
had
I've
incentive,
never read
right?
the words of what
I had to eat.
Imam Sajjad is saying.
So I woke up.
I have all of these books and all of this access
Outside,
to
I
all
don't
these
read
ahadith, these various
I mean,
sayings of
obviously,
Ahlulbayt,
heaven and
alayhim
hell.
salam, but yet I
That's
don't
a pretty big
access any
incentive
of
not to end up in hell. But you know, sometimes
them.
we
Pick
don't
them up,
buy
I don't
that.
study them. So they
We
were
have to have it
madhaloom then at the hands of
physical.
their enemies, but today they're madhaloom.
And we do it all the time. We
at
do it
my
with religion
hands.
all the time. You know,
The
what is it
Hujjah
that
of Allah,
drives
the
me to
final
come to the
Hujjah of
masjid?
Allah, the final evidence
come
of
to the
God, the final
Husayniyah?
proof of God that shall come
What is
and
it that
establish
drove me to
justice
come
and
here
peace.
today?
Kama muliyat dhulman mujawra,
Well,
like it
obviously,
was
because I'm
established,
here to do
or
this,
like
I have
it was
to.
filled with
But
oppression
really, if I didn't
and
have to come,
injustice.
would I come?
He awaits us, but we're not ready.
What
for
is
him.
it that has brought me here today?
What are the characteristics?
Is it that desire to come
the
and
characteristics
take part
of the
in the
ashab?
program to recite Salat
sixth Imam
al-Jama'ah
says,
with
"Man
the mu'mineen, to sit and interact with other mu'mineen? Or is it the fact that my friend sponsored the majlis?
ومحاسن الأخلاق وهو منتظر. He says that
Because
the
my friend
ashab
called
al-Taqa'im
me
possess certain characteristics
and said, today I'm sponsoring the
فلينتظر.
niyaz or
The
the
thing that they do is
You
they
must
do
come.
active intidhar.
What is my
They
desire?
actively await
What
the
is it
Imam.
that drives me towards the
Their
religion?
life, the physical, spiritual, mental,
And Allah is so
everything
Rahman, He
geared
is so
towards
Rahim, He is so
the
merciful.
Imam, is
He
geared
says, my
towards
Abd,
the
I
happiness
know
of
that
their
you
Imam.
didn't
Everything
come
that
for
they
me.
do is for the sake
I
of
know
their
that you
Imam.
didn't
Everything
come
that
for
they
me.
prepare is for
I
the
know
sake
you
of
came
their
for
Imam.
another one of my
If it is
servants. I
physically
know you
they're
came for
preparing
food.
themselves,
I
it is
know
for
that
the
you
sake
came for
of
your
the
friends. I
Imam.
know
It
you
is
did
not
not
for
come for
anything
me.
else.
But Abdi, my slave,
They do
maybe
not
I'll
go
allow
and
you
train
to
or
come.
go to the
Maybe,
gym
just
to look at
maybe.
members of the opposite gender.
You might turn your
or to
heart
attract
towards
members
me.
of the opposite gender. No, فَلْيَنْتَظِرْ. They do active
Because as I've been
intidar
saying
when
in
they're
dua, alhamdulillah,
physically
every time we
preparing
turn up,
themselves.
every
It is
time we
for
do
the
something,
sake
it
of
is
their
not because
Imam.
we have chosen to do it.
Spiritually, when they're
سيدي لعلك
preparing
عندك
themselves, it is for the sake of their Imam, that they're pushing their limits because they know that the Hujjah of Allah
That my
prepares
Lord, I don't
himself
know what it is
spiritually this month, that's Laylatul Qadr coming. They say the Imam of our time embarks upon a 3-month spiritual program that he is able to bear the amr that comes on the night of Qadr.
You've seen me not caring about your responsibility. Thus you have removed me from your door. So sometimes it's not what Allah wants. Allah wants our actions, but He is so merciful that He says, okay, my abd, do you want to come for the sake of the halim that someone is giving, or the biryani, or whatever? No problem.
I know it's because of you, but where are you?
Maybe, just maybe.
Have I done that active intidar, that mental preparation, that physical preparation, that spiritual preparation, every aspect of my life, everything that I do, every morning that I get up, every thought that I have, every spare moment that I have, is it absorbed by the thought of my Imam? When I recite dua iftitah, and at the end I say, Allahumma inna nashku ilayka faqda nabiyyina.
Says that when they ask you about me, tell them, and I listen to everything that they say.
Does it bring tears to my eyes? Oh Allah, I complain
even when
to
he
you
speaks about forgiveness.
يا عبادي الذي أسرفوا على أنفسهم لا تقنطوا من رحمة الله.
Oh my servants, oh those of my servants
that have been
extravagant with themselves.
Asbaq ibn Nubata could go and see their Imam. They meet them could go and see his Imam. Abu Dhar and Salman and Miqdad and Farazdak and Da'ibal and all of these individuals, they could all go and visit their Imam, but yet
do not despair of the mercy hidden from me.
Do I ever spare a thought for my Imam in all the problems that I have in my life? In all the issues and all the things that have consumed my life, do I ever sit down and spare a thought for my Imam that this is what I'm doing for my Imam today? When I give sadaqah, do I ever give the sadaqah for the sake of my Imam just like that? Or do I only give the sadaqah for my Imam when I'm going on traveling? When I'm going out on some sort of travel, then I only ever do that.
When self-conceit has taken
because I want something in return, but never do I wake up in the morning and think I'm just going to give sadaqah.
God, the ujub of the believer, of the mu'min.
Whereas the Imam is always cognizant, he's always aware of my feelings, he's always of what I'm doing. Every time I raise my hands and say Allahumma kulli waliyyika,
when they worship, when they come to the Husayniyah, when they come to the masjid, when they do some sort of ibadat, they expect some sort of return on investment.
This follower of mine that has prayed for me, you keep him safe,
because they believe their worship to be so worthy.
The Shia is such that when he falls ill, his Imam falls ill as well.
They never articulate
that. Someone comes to Amir al-Mu'mineen, Ya Ali, I'm sorry,
but it shows within our actions.
I haven't been able to come for
how quickly I despair, how quickly I become despondent, how quickly I follow the religion one day, then I miss my salah the following day. Or when I choose to follow the teachings of Ahlulbayt one day, but I choose to ignore them the other day. Or when I pick and choose what I want from the religion.
When our Shias are happy, we are happy with them. When they are sad and upset, we are sad and upset with them.
I've got that disease within
myself. The Imam is so integral to existence. The Imam is so integral.
Me praying today,
to
I
what
did him a favor.
Are to whom we are, to what our makeup is made
I didn't
up
eat for you.
Of the Imam. Our existence is made up of the Imam.
That's got to count for something.
When the seventh Imam says that our Shi'as were created from the
companion of Isa was blessed because of the nur of the wilayah. The ujub set in and it destroyed.
That our Shias were left over from that what was left from our existence.
And it is only through their remembrance
that which was used to create us,
continued mercy upon the existences of this world, that we carry on doing what we do.
Makeup is a whole different thing. That
otherwise, outside of that,
things that were mixed with clay of Ahlulbayt is complex.
They're the manifestation.
When it was mixed with that is different. But what was left over from that
clay
that was reserved for Ahlulbayt was then used to create the Shia of Ahlulbayt.
When we refer to,
we are linked with the Hujjah of Allah. We are linked with the proof and the evidence of Allah upon the earth. And He is in constant remembrance of us.
No one knows
what
that secret is
cries
Allah
when He sees us
and my Shias are still not.
But that sir
that is with her, that
the first
secret
thing
that
that
is
the
with her,
Shia,
will
the
only be
Ashab of
revealed
the
on Yawm
Qa'im
al-Qiyamah,
have,
and then when that
فَلْيَنْتَظِرْ, they
is
do
revealed, none
active
will be able to
intidhar,
look at her,
وَلْيَعْلِ
they will lower your
بِالْوَرَعِ.
gazes
The
for
second
Zahra
thing that
and
they do is a'mal at the level of
why?
wara'.
Because she manifests herself in her
Wara'
truest
being
form,
the level of
majestic form,
Now
in
they
that
begin to
divine
abstain
form,
the second
that
level of
none will be able to view her with the
second, third,
physical
fourth levels of
eyes.
taqwa, where a person now begins to withdraw. If you remember the
Ahlulbayt
topic
are
or
Kitabillah.
a few
They are
lectures ago
those
when
that
we spoke
possess
about
the knowledge
the
of the
12
Book of Allah.
stages before that precede khulus,
And I've asked
the
this question
12
before, what is my
spiritual
relationship with
maqamat
the Book
the
of Allah?
person must pass through.
If they possess all the knowledge
Each
of the
of
Book
them,
of Allah,
one by one,
what
was
is
at a
my
higher
relationship
level
with the
of
Holy
abstinence.
Quran?
People were-
Amirul
the
Mu'mineen
Salik,
in
the traveler, was
in
beginning to
Khutbatul
withdraw from
Muttaqeen, where he
everything
speaks
until
to
he reached the
Hammam
point where
about
he'd
the sifat
withdrawn
of the
from all
Muttaqeen,
things
of those
except
that
Allah.
claim to be the
Says
God
our Shi'as will
conscious.
do a'mal
When
at the
our
level of
Imam
wara',
is
they're
Imam
doing
al-Muttaqeen,
actions,
then we
they're
by some
worshipping, but
extension
at the
are
same
the
time they're
Muttaqeen.
abstaining from things. They're moving themselves away.
What is
from
it
those
that are
things
the
that do not
characteristics
remind
of the
them Allah
Muttaqeen?
subhanahu wa
He says, وَأَنَّ فَصَافُونَ أَقْدَامُهُمْ.
They do
He says, and
a'mal
during
at
the
the
night
level of
they are
wara'.
upstanding on their feet.
Abstinence, higher level of understanding
تَالِينَ
of Allah subhanahu
لِأَجْزَاءِ الْقُرْآنِ.
wa ta'ala.
Reciting portions of the Quran, reciting well in a well-measured way. يرتلونها ترتيلا. They recite with tartil. They recite in a tune,
good manners, in the way that
which
they
Allah
interact
subhanahu
with
wa
people,
ta'ala
in the way
also
that they
refers
speak
to
to
in the
people,
Quran.
everything that they
They
do.
recite it in a well-measured way, creating through it grief for themselves and seeking by it cure for their ailments.
Their character,
The Quran is shifa'ah for all diseases, for anything. But only if we can unlock its secrets, only if we ponder over it.
the way that they interact with
Alama
others.
Majlisi says that I cured
way that they're
1,400
loyal
or
to
so people with just the
way that they do not
recitation of
break
Surah
their promises.
Fatiha upon them.
They do not
There is
cheat.
shifa'ah within it.
All of these things.
As if they come across a
They make
verse
up that
creating
mahasin al-akhlaq.
eagerness for paradise, pursue it avidly.
And more
They
than
think
ever,
about
it
it,
is
they ponder
essential
over it.
that
When
we
it
hold
talks
on
about
to that.
paradise, that these are the individuals that
says that
Allah
the
loves,
one
these are
that
the
possesses
individuals
these three,
that come where He says, وَعِبَادُ الرَّحْمَنِ, those that are the ibad of the Rahman, of the beneficent.
individual is the
يمشون في
muntadir.
الأرض
That
حونا.
individual is
وإذا
the true
خاطبهم
awaiter of
الجاهلون
the
قالوا
Imam.
سلاما. And when they come across, they walk upon the earth
hujjah of
humbly, and when they
Allah
come
upon the
across
earth.
the ignorant ones, they simply
For
say to them,
those that
Salah,
are to come
peace, and
and
those
those that were before.
they don't engage.
They are
with
hujjah
ignorance.
upon all
and
the
there Allah
prophets of
subhanahu wa
God,
ta'ala lists
upon
14
every
characteristics
in the known
that's
universe.
part of Surah Al-Furqan about Ibadur Rahman.
Everything
It says they pursue it and their spirits are turned towards it eagerly,
And so we
they
need to
feel as
prepare
if it is in
ourselves to
front
be
of them.
able
They
to witness
picture
and
the
be
heavens,
able
they
to
picture the blessings
see
of God, and
that
when they come
hujjah, to be
across a
able to
verse
be
which
able
contains
to-
the fear of
to
hell,
be able to
they
accept
bend their
that
ears
hujjah.
towards they bend the ears of their
Because we
hearts
said that the
towards
viewing
it,
of the hujjah cannot
and feel
take
as if the
place
sound of hell and
with
its cries
the
are reaching
The
their
physical
ears.
entity will be seen, but the real depth
They
of being
ponder
able
over
to view
it.
the hujjah comes
How
from
is
the
it
eyes of the heart.
possible that the Shia of Ali,
And things will
the
continue
Shia of
to become more and more
Ahlulbayt, could
difficult.
not ponder over the Quran, could not think
And
about
so
the Holy
needing
Quran,
to
when
hold
the
on
whole
to those
wilayat
individuals
of
that are
Amir
kahf
al-Mu'mineen,
al-Asim,
the whole announcement of the
those
wilayat of
individuals
Amir
that are the
al-Mu'mineen
refuge,
was hinged upon
they're
the
the
Holy
caves of
Quran.
refuge
We
for
only
those
read the
that are
one
lost
line
in
from
the
from
of
the
the
sermon of
wilderness of the
Ghadir, a
dunya.
3-hour-long sermon
Those
that
that
the
are
Holy Prophet
entangled
gave,
and
the longest
lost in the
sermon of his
darkness of
life,
their
and
own lowly
mashallah, we the
desires,
Shias know
being
one line.
being pulled from left and right.
kuntum
They
mawla
are the kahf, they are the
What came before it, what came after it, no idea.
That if you hold on to their
But yet what was
coattails,
before
if you
it, he
hold
said,
on to them, they will
أيها
take
الناس,
us, they
O
will
people,
rise us
تدبر
from the
القرآن
degradation from
وافهموا,
that dark
O ponder over the Quran and understand it, and know that none will be able to give you the interpretation and the understanding of the Quran except for the man whose hand is in my hand. Man kuntu mawla fahadha aliyyun mawla.
Much of it is about
How is it possible
the
then I could have a
culture of
distance from the
society.
Quran? How is it possible
Says
that I
that
could
in
not be
Akhir
connected
Zaman
with the
there are
Holy
certain
Quran?
things that will happen.
When I claim to be from
The first
amongst
thing
the
is
Shia,
their deen will become the dinar. Their religion will become money.
Ahlulbayt
Everything about their
that
religion
Imam
will be
al-Hadi
about
refers to in
money.
Ziyarat Jamiah.
They will live for money. They will live
of the
to
secrets
earn
of
money, to
Allah,
get
the
richer,
keepers
to
of the
chase
secrets of
after it, to
Allah.
worship. It will be that thing that makes them
they
happy.
are
It will
those
be
that
that thing
possess
that
the
makes them
knowledge
upset.
of the book.
They will be
They
worshipping
possess
it.
the knowledge of the
دينهم
Kitab Allah.
دنانيرهم.
The Quran.
So one side they will
and
worship money.
the book that speaks
Well, then the
about
other side is
umur,
they will make
amr,
the
things
religion
that
their
will
way
happen
of making
within the
money.
dunya, that which is
And
preserved
there's two
within the
sides.
heavens.
That we use the
We pray
religion
that
to
Allah
make
subhanahu wa ta'ala
ourselves money.
forgives our sins. Pray
Use
that
the name
Allah
of the
subhanahu wa
Imam
ta'ala
to make
forgives the sins of
ourselves
our
money,
parents.
or then we worship
Oh Allah,
that money.
those of our
Both things
parents
are the
that are
same,
alive,
but
give them long
sometimes
lives.
we
Those
like
of
to
our
spin
parents
it.
that have left this world, give them
Spin
place
doctors,
next to
yeah, the
Alhamdulillah,
UK with
Jannah.
great spin doctors.
Allah,
when
those
it
who are
comes
ill,
to
give them
government,
shifa.
any sort of
Those
news,
who are in debt,
put
clear
another
their
angle
debts.
on it,
Those
so
who are in
you don't
education,
realize
make them
what's
successful.
really going on
Oh
here.
Allah,
So sometimes we take the
relieve
deen
difficulties and the problems of
and
the
try and make dinar from it.
that are present here today.
It becomes,
keep safe the
although
Shia
our
around
actual
the
religion
world.
is that money, but
Allah,
we take
destroy
that
the enemies of Tashayyuh,
religion
both
and
internally
try and make
externally
money
around
from
the
it.
world. Oh Allah, hasten the reappearance of the
دنانيرهم.
Imam of our time and allow us to be amongst
And even
his
at the base
true
level, sometimes I don't
his
even
true
realize that
waiters
I'm doing it.
for the acceptance of these du'as and any other du'as that the brothers
I stand up and I say,
Please
we
recite
need
3 loud
funds for
salawat
the
ala
Imam
Muhammad wa ala
Bargah,
Muhammad.
for the Husseiniya.